Recording is on.
Welcome everybody to our new time slot, LisaBug Gentle Yoga on Monday morning. So I hope everyone's doing fantastic today. And we are going to use as an option today a tennis ball to do a little bit of extra focus on our feet, on connecting and stretching the fascia underneath the bottom of our feet. And we might use it with the hands a little bit as well. If you don't have a tennis ball, a golf ball would work, but that's a little bit hard for the fascia. But if you have that as well, or maybe just take a washcloth and bunch it up, and maybe you can use that for the exercises too. So have that close by. Also, if you don't feel comfortable sitting for a long period of time working on your hands and feet on the floor, you can grab a chair and sit into a chair. So that would be a comfortable position. So a block and a strap too, if you have one as well. So let's begin seated. And today, if you're sitting cross-legged, I'd like you to take your right ankle crossed in front of your left. We'll just sit up nice and tall. Hands can be turned down towards your knees or palms facing up toward the sky. And let's just close our eyes for a few breaths and come inside, come into this present moment. This is a gift that you've given to yourself. So do your best to just remove yourself from any external distractions, from any anxiety, from any dissidence or unrest in your life. Just come into a peaceful place. As you find the breath, inhale and exhale through the nose with a nice long spine, an open and relaxed throat. Filling the belly with the in-breath. Let it expand away from your spine as you breathe in. And then gently draw that belly back in towards the backbone with the exhalation. Two more nice deep breaths. Exhaling completely. Blink your eyes open. We'll take a couple breaths here, reaching, opening up through the heart and the ribs. And exhale, press down. Just two more. Beginning to move the body. Connect the breath with the movement. Last one, breathe in. And breathe out. So spending a little extra time today on our wrists, hands, ankles, and feet. In a lot of our yoga poses, we're on our hands and we can develop some tension in the wrists. So over time, we lose that mobility, the flexion of our wrists and the extension, both forward and back. So I just want you to begin to press your palms in front of you. Pull your fingers back toward your shoulders and then press them down towards the floor. And not too vigorously. I just want you to notice, how do your wrists feel today? Are they tight when you flex the fingers toward you? Is one direction a little tighter than other? Or one hand a little tighter than the other? And just take it through that gentle range of motion. Fingers are slightly spread. We're sitting tall here. Again, you can sit in a chair because we're going to be here in the seated position for a while. Good. One more time. Flex. And then make a fist, squeeze, and open the fingertips wide. So we're flexing the forearm muscles as we squeeze. It's not too vigorously. And then we're really spreading the fingers nice and wide. Try not to sit in a slumped position here. So we're focusing on a good core, good posture. So our lifestyle has a lot to do with certain areas of our body that might be tight or might have overuse injuries. So with our smartphones now, we're developing different syndromes in our wrists, in our hands, and specifically in our thumbs. So let's make one more. Contract and open, and take your thumbs and begin to circle them around. Now, the thumbs is also an area where we can tend to develop arthritis, and oftentimes early in life, it will show up in our thumbs. So you might feel maybe a little achiness here or maybe a clicking in your thumbs. Just be aware of that and notice. And let's reverse and go the other direction. So there's a syndrome that a lot of people are seeing right now, and sometimes it's just called texting thumb or smartphone thumb. And it's because of the way we hold our smartphones and oftentimes text with our thumbs that we start to develop a tendinitis that goes from the thumb down this first compartment into the wrist. So a test for this syndrome is to take your hands, open your fingers wide, and then fold your thumbs across the palm of your hands. And then I just want you to fold your fingers over your thumbs. And then if you hold your hands like this with your thumbs tucked inside, you're going to take your knuckles and push them towards me. So not your whole arm, but just your knuckle. So I'm taking that hand and I'm going away from the thumb. And just notice. So I do have a little bit of arthritis in my left thumb. I've had it for years. And so this I feel a lot. But it's also the hand that I hold my smartphone with more often because sometimes I'm texting with my right finger. So I'm holding that smartphone in the left hand. So just notice what you feel here. And then push those knuckles away from you and just hold that stretch. And then with the thumb still tucked in the fingers, I want you to rotate your wrist slowly and with whatever range of motion you have. So with the thumb tucked in, it's a little different than just making a fist. You should feel this stretch along the outside of your forearm here as you rotate around. And let's go the other direction. And be sure if you're feeling a substantial amount of pain that you make this small. You stop when you need to. Last one here. And then relax. And just notice how you feel in your wrists. We'll change the cross of the ankles to sit for a bit with the opposite leg in front, if that feels comfortable for you. Now take your hands, press your palms together and interlace your fingers and have your right thumb on the top. That might be the comfortable, normal way for you, or it might feel awkward. We're going to make a figure 8 with our wrists. So I first want you to start by dropping your knuckles down. Go around to the right, drop them down, and go around to the left. Now there's going to be a little bit of movement through your elbows too, but I want you to make this mostly about the wrists. So we're just making kind of an infinity sign, a little figure 8. Good. Now to reverse the infinity sign, you're going to come up, around, up, around. This one I have to think about a little bit more. Doesn't feel quite as coordinated to go this direction. So I'm not really clasping my fingers really tightly. They're kind of loose, just to get that motion into the wrists. Last one. And then take your hands just as you have them, lift your elbows up, spread your fingers, and push your hands forward. Drop your shoulder blades down. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, side. Inhale. Exhale, side. And inhale. Lower and round your shoulder blades open. Drop your chin towards your chest. Then come back up to a neutral spine, pulling your hands back in toward you. Switch the lace of your hand. So if you take your left thumb on top and then alternate your fingers, make that nice, easy clasp and figure eight or infinity sign down, around, down, around. So we use our hands for so much. So through a normal day, we're doing these types of movements without even realizing it. But to spend this extra bit of attention is really important to keep the mobility of our wrists. And then when we get on our hands to do a yoga pose like down dog, all of a sudden it just feels better. Okay, reversing your infinity sign, go up, around, up, around, up, around. Taking breaks when you need. Let's do one or two more here. And then with the hands interlaced, press them out. Inhale, stretch up to the right side. Exhale. Inhale to the left side. Exhale. Inhale, center. And then scoop out the belly, open through the shoulder blades, drop the chin. Should feel like cat stretch here. Inhale back up one more time. And let the hands go. Relax them to your lap. And just notice how they feel. So we're going to flow through cat and cow on your mat, hands and knees, using different positions for our hands and wrists. So coming down to all fours. The traditional way is we always point our all 10 fingertips forward and thumb. So we'll start that way today. Spread your fingers, but pull your thumbs in just a little bit so they're not too widely spread. And we'll inhale to cow, dropping the belly, lift the tailbone and the chin. And then exhale, rounding up to cat. We've got 3 sets of each hand position. And one more time, inhale, glide through to cow. Exhale. And back to neutral. Now just take your hands and turn your fingers out and out. Same thing, 3 cow, inhale, and exhale. 2 more, working on that mobility of the spine. But the sensations are different in each one of these wrist positions in terms of your forearm stretch. A little bit of softness in your elbows, make sure you're not locking them out. And back to neutral. Now, if you can, keep spinning your hands around. If this isn't comfortable, only go the distance that you can turn them back. This is a big stretch in those wrists. Inhale to cow. Exhale to cat. Oh, yes, we feel that. 2 more. And back to neutral spine. Now with my fingers still pointing towards my knees, take your hands and turn them so the back of your hand is on the floor. And be careful, this is a lot of pressure. So you might take some of your body weight back off of your hands a little bit. Inhale to cow. Exhale to cat. 2 more. If this one is not accessible to you or feels too painful, be sure that you modify or take it out altogether. Coming back to neutral. Now make fists for wrists. I'm coming up onto my knuckles. 3, cow and cat. So making fists for wrists is a good way that we can be on our hands and knees if the wrists are starting to become painful, placing our hands flat onto the mat. So anytime you're doing hands and knees pose, you can choose this position. That's 3, back to neutral. And the last one we'll do is come up onto your fingertips like you're making little tents, a little teepee. So I'm actually strengthening my fingers here as I'm up in this all fours position. Inhale to cow. Exhale to cat. 3 repetitions. This is another option we can take as long as it's not painful, especially if you have any arthritis in your fingers and thumbs. And rest. Okay, our first foot stretch today, I want you to turn and tuck your toes underneath to sit back into toe squat. So in toe squat, if this is too uncomfortable, you can take your block, have a seat right on it, and that might be comfortable enough, or just tuck a little pillow or something underneath and have a seat. So this is going to give us an option to shake out our hands a little bit, maybe just circle them, shake them out. And then reach them behind your back, interlace your hands together. Open up through the heart, take a stretch through the chest. Now at any time, if you need to come out of toe squat, you can turn those toes back over, or you can put your hands down onto the floor in front of you to take a little bit of this stretch out. Now place your other thumb on top behind you, switch the clasp of your hands, and stretch once more here. And then release that. And we're here about another minute in our toe squat. I want you to notice, if you look around, sometimes your little toe does not join the party. So you might have to just tuck that underneath a little bit to make sure all of your toes are tucked under. And let's close your eyes and take a few breaths. So we're beginning to stretch the posterior fascia line. The fascia is that connective tissue that our muscles are encased in. So if you look at maybe a chicken breast you get from the grocery store. And you see that kind of clear looking saran wrap type of connective tissue that chicken breast is surrounded in. That is the fascia. And it connects all of our muscles. The posterior chain runs from the back of your head all the way down your body and goes underneath the bottoms of your feet to the underside of your toes. And it's a continual connection of this fascia. So when we're stretching underneath the bottoms of the feet, we're actually releasing that fascia along the chain all the way to the back of the head where it connects. All right, let's come forward. If you have the block you're sitting on, you can remove that. And then turn your feet back over. And then pressing into the palms of your hands, just lift your knees off the floor a little bit and push into the tops of your feet, just briefly, just to stretch here. And then step onto one foot and the other. And I want you to come into a forward bend and just notice, how tight do you feel in your hamstrings today? You might need to put your hands onto a block or onto a chair. You can bend your knees as much as you need to. You can grab opposite elbows and hang into ragdoll. So just noticing your flexibility today in the backs of the legs. We're going to revisit this forward fold a couple of times, and hopefully we're going to notice some changes in our flexibility. Well, soften your knees. You can place your hands right on your thighs and come up to stand. So we're going to be spending some time with our tennis ball. We'll do this standing up, but if you feel more comfortable sitting into a chair, you can do that as well. So let's take the right foot first. And we're going to put our foot onto that tennis ball. I'm going to give you a little diagonal view. And I've got it kind of underneath the ball of the foot, and I want you to curl with your toes and hug the tennis ball, and then open your toes and spread them wide. Then curl and open. Now I like to make exercises effective. And so while we're doing this contract and release, I want you to take your right arm and bring it across your chest and stretch through the shoulder. Good. Now, if you're standing up and you're feeling like this is too tippy to balance and do two things at once, you don't have to do the arm stretch, because this is mostly about our feet today. Release the shoulder stretch, and then slide the foot up on the ball a little more. I want you to push down under the ball of the foot and just hold. Right arm comes up, stretch your tricep, and take a little side lean. And I'm just pushing down into that tennis ball with whatever intensity is okay today. If you have plantar fasciitis, or if you've ever had it, you know how painful that can be underneath the bottom of the foot. Release the arms. But this is one of the best treatments for plantar fasciitis, is a little bit of ball massage. So just take your foot and roll it over and back. And we're going the length that the fascia runs with whatever pressure that you want. If you need a chair for balance, you can hold on to it here as you roll it forward, roll it back. 2 more times. And then flex your foot so your heel is on the floor, and I want you to lean into this. And I've got a pretty straight right leg for now. So really you can use anything right here to do this stretch. It doesn't have to be a tennis ball. It's something that will elevate the toes up. Come back from that lean, bend your right knee. In fact, you can bend both knees because this is going to make it easier. And then lean forward a little bit with a bent knee. So this is getting the soleus to stretch while we've got this little bit of acupressure against the bottom of the foot in that plantar fascia. Now keep this stretch so we've got both knees bent, and then you're going to move your foot like a fan. So your knee's going to go in and out, and you're going along the bottom of the foot across the fascia. And again, with as much pressure as you can take today, you can do this sitting in a chair. Now it shouldn't be too far up the ball of the foot, so if it gets away from you, slide your foot forward again so it's mostly underneath the bottom of the foot. And then come back to center, straighten both legs, and lean into that ball a little bit one more time. And then for the last time, I want you to curl your toes and open. And I had to do that with my hands at the same time. Curl and open. Once more, curl and open. Now I want to do a forward fold with this ball, the ball under this foot. So you can step that back foot in a little bit. Stand up tall. Ooh, this is a stretch. Inhale, sweep your arms out and up. Exhale and fold. Hands can come to a chair, a block, the floor. Oh my. Three more breaths. Now stay right in that forward fold, but take the ball out from underneath the foot and then just hold your forward bend. Maybe clasp the opposite elbows, and I want you to notice, does the right hamstring feel significantly stretchier than the left? I definitely can feel the difference. We'll soften our knees, take the hands to the hips, and stand. Okay, let's repeat that sequence with that ball underneath the bottom of the left foot. And I've got it towards the ball of the foot. I'm just going to curl the toes and then spread the toes. And while you're doing this first exercise, the left arm comes across and we'll stretch the shoulder. You can also move your head various directions too to give yourself a little neck stretch. Whatever feels good for you here. Good. And relax the arm. And then slide the ball a little bit further up towards the arch. And we're just going to lean into it. Give yourself a little bit of pressure. Take that same arm up and stretch the tricep. A little bit of a side bend gives you a nice lengthening through the side body. And this is just steady pressure underneath the bottom of the foot. And then release the stretch, lowering that arm down. Then we'll roll the foot forward and back along the grain. So if you think about a board of wood and you see the wood grain, that's where we're floating back and forth to stretch and release the plantar fascia. Chair for balance if you need. Last time. And then let your heel land down. Keep your legs straight and lean into that and press. And just notice, does this one feel a little bit tighter than the other side? It's just good to kind of know those imbalances you might have in your body. Come back from that a little bit. Bend both knees. And now take some pressure forward with a bent knee. You should feel the difference in that stretch. It's going to be lower into your Achilles tendon, and a muscle that kind of runs underneath the calf muscle called the soleus. So keeping any amount of pressure in here that you can, I want you to make a fan. You're going to be turning the foot out and in while you're massaging across the grain. And if the ball starts slipping up towards the toes, you can readjust so that it's right underneath that arch as you go back and forth. Come back to the center, hold it steady. And then as we straighten our legs up, we'll come into a forward bend with the ball still under the bottom of the foot. So you can step that back foot back in a little bit. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, swan dive down, slowly noticing that stretch. If hands need to come to a chair or a block, have that there accessible for you. Taking care of our feet is a good thing. And sometimes we forget about our feet because really they're the furthest body part away from our eyes, so we don't think about them that much. But they are our foundation, and they support us in almost everything we do in life. And then let's release the arms, hands to the hips. Oh, let's take it out first. Take the ball out and then go back to your forward bend one more time and notice if the legs evened out a little bit now. We'll just stay here about another 10-15 seconds breathing. Maybe you can get your legs a little straighter than you could on that first forward bend. And now soften the knees, bring the hands to the hips, and rise up to stand. All right, placing all of your weight onto your left foot. And again, if you need a chair for balance, have that. Take your right foot and turn the toes down to the floor. Now you can add any amount of pressure down into those toes that feels comfortable for you. We're basically in a toe point. And just like we have a posterior line of fascia, we have an anterior line of fascia as well. And the anterior line can be tight because we sit a lot, and this is all flexed. And that sometimes we're bent forward. So stretching out the top of the feet just equally as important to lengthening the fascia. And then we'll switch sides. Turning the top of the other foot down to your mat. And you can make this more of a toe bone stretch, by just actually stretching that first and second joint of the toes, or you can make it more of an ankle and top of the arch of the foot stretch. Both are wonderful. Good posture. And this gives us a little bit of a balance challenge too, but you can do this in a chair. Just a couple more breaths here. And then turn that foot back over. Bring your toes out so you're externally rotating your thighs. And then just lift up and down. Up and down. You can use a chair, but we're strengthening the ankles, strengthening the calf muscles, working on our balance. One more time. And then bring your feet parallel so they're facing straight ahead. And lift and lower. So when we're working on balance, we feel all those little small intrinsic muscles working to keep our balance. Our ankles wiggle a little bit side to side as we're strengthening them. That's all normal. So just let that happen. And one more. Then turn your toes in. We're rotating from the thigh bone, but also a little bit at the ankle too. And let's try it. Up and down. So these different positions of the feet work the head of the calf a little bit differently, as well as our hips in different positions. It's good to balance out that work with these three positions. And one more. And come down. All right, we can set our ball to the side. Have your block if you need it for any poses here. And we move through sun salutation. So come to the top of your mat. You can bring your feet tight together or hips distance apart. We'll take a breath in. And as you exhale, soften the knees, swan dive into forward bend. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold, and step your feet back to plank. So our toes are tucked under here for our plank. We can always lower down to the knees. And notice the pressure that you have on your wrists. So we can increase that pressure by coming forward, but we can decrease it by slightly pulling our body weight back. So I want you to focus on pulling your body weight back away from the wrists, and that will press it into your heels. We'll drop the knees down and back to a child's pose. Now either staying here in child's pose, or you can lift up into a downward facing dog if you'd like. So with our gentle yoga practice, take what feels best for you today. If you're up and down dog, just pedal out your feet back and forth. Pressing off of the wrists, back away from the hands. And then hold both heels down. Nice little stretch here for the backs of the legs. And then walk or jump your feet forward back towards the top of your mat. Take as many steps as you need. Coming into your forward bend. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale and fold. Soften the knees. Inhale, rise all the way up. Reach through the fingertips. Press the palms together at heart center. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, swan dive into forward bend. Maybe a little deeper than you have today with all of that release in the fascial line. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. Walk or jump your feet back to your plank. Now take one of your knees. Let's do your right side. I'm going to do my left to mirror you. Take your right knee down onto the floor and then kick your ankle out to the right side of your mat. We're going to rotate out into a side plank here. Now in side plank, there's always a lot of pressure onto the wrists. You've got a lot of your body weight here. So that little tenting position that we did on all fours, I want you to come up onto your fingertips. So we're taking a lot of the weight out of our hands. We can hold this here or even lift the foot up off the floor. So with your foot off the floor, if you feel comfortable doing that, I want you to put an imaginary pencil between your big toe and your second toe. And in cursive, I want you to write your name with the pencil. First name, middle name, maiden name, all your names, last name, and be sure you're crossing your T's and dotting your I's. So this makes your ankle move all directions while we're strengthening the fingertips of the right hand. Once you get your whole name written, hold. Notice how that ankle feels. And we'll set that foot down. Pull yourself up with your core and take a side stretch. And reach back down to the mat. Push yourself to plank from the knees or toes and hold. And I'm just going to turn, but we will set our left knee down to the mat. Kick that ankle out to the side. Rotate open into your side plank. And then come up onto the fingers so we're tenting them, lifting our body weight up off our hand. Lift that top leg up. Now, can you write with your left foot? Maybe not as well as your right foot, but let's write in cursive your whole name. Ooh, great strengthener for the calf muscles, the shin. B-R-A-N and D, and then set that foot down. Use the strength of your core, pull yourself up and reach. And let's come back to our plank. Drop the knees to the mat, child's pose. All right, coming onto your back. If you have a block with you, you might like to use it today for a little bit of lift for the hips. We're going to come into a supported bridge. So coming down onto your back, if you'd like to use the block, we lift the seat up and slide it underneath the sacrum. And just hold that bridge, soften through all the muscles of the hips and thighs. Draw your shoulder blades back and down. And just rest here in our supported bridge. So from this position, take your right leg and slide it out. And feel that little stretch across the front of the hip. You can do this flat on the floor as well without the block. And then with the right foot flexed, lift the leg up, point the toe, and lower it back down. Flex to lift, point to lower. Flex to lift, point to lower. 2 more times. Now we'll lift that leg up and hold it here. Clasp behind your thigh, or you can use a strap underneath the bottom of your foot. Hold that stretch as you slide the other leg out. So now we're feeling a hip flexor stretch on the left side while we've got this nice hamstring stretch on the right. So the block lifts the hips to give us that extra opening through the hip flexor. Holding this stretch, point and flex, point and flex. 1 more. And then 3 ankle circles, slow and as large as you can get them. Then reverse that, 3 ankle circles. Then relax your foot. Bend that knee, place the foot to the floor. On the left side now, we flex the foot as we lift. Point to lower. Flex to lift. Point to lower. Hold it up. Clasp behind the thigh or using your strap underneath the bottom of the foot. And this knee can be a little bit bent. If you can't quite get the back of your leg, you can always grab your pants, pull it in towards you. Anything that gives you that nice stretch there. Then slide your right leg back down. Just stretch that hip flexor 1 more time. And we point and flex. Point and flex once more. And then 3 ankle circles. I don't know about you, but I'm definitely feeling this work that we've done here on the ankle. Reverse that. And then just relax the foot, pulling that stretch in. And then either coming back to your supported bridge with bent knees, or if you feel comfortable, both legs can straighten in that supported bridge to release both hip flexors here. Maybe try that. If it doesn't feel good to your lower back, you can go back to bent knees here. And just relax. Let the spine extend. Begin to take some nice deep breaths in and out through the nose. Now on your inhale, let your arms reach above your head, stretch. Maybe they touch the floor behind you, maybe not. Then exhale, bring them back by your side. 2 more, inhale, reach. Exhale, lower. And 1 more. Bring one knee and then the other back in toward you. And then extend your legs straight up for legs up the wall position. So we are going to vigorously pump our ankles by pulling your toes down towards your shins and down. And I'm not really pointing, I'm just pulling down. And now we're going to speed this pace up. Pull, 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 pull. 5, 6, 7. Keep pulling. 9, 10 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 30. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it burning? 6, 7, 8, 9, 40. Last 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Pull, pull. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Relax your feet. Lower them down to the mat. Ooh. Press into those feet, lift your hips up off the block, slide it out from underneath you, roll down, flattening that lower back down into your mat. Hug your knees into your chest for a little bit of a counter stretch. You can also take a happy baby pose here by reaching the hand inside the knee, but outside the ankle, pulling that heel down. The knees come right to your armpits. You can rock this back and forth, massaging the lower back. If you're sitting in a chair, just widen the stance of your feet on the floor and lower your body right down and reach between your feet towards the floor. Now coming into Baddha Konasana, bring the feet together, set them down to the floor, and then open your knees out. Just relax through your thighs. Relax your arms. Close your eyes. Begin to breathe. And just notice any sensations you're feeling in your ankles, your feet, your wrists and hands. Any other areas of your body that may be affected by your practice today. Just allow your breathing to slow, your mind to calm, coming into a peaceful place of self-care. We'll be here for a couple of minutes. Try to totally relax. Soften all the muscles in your body. And just do a little scan from head to toe just to notice if you're gripping or tightening anything. Relaxing your eyelids, eyebrows. The skin of your face is softened. Just kind of fading away any fine lines and wrinkles. The jaw might be slightly separated, the teeth not clenched, and just the tongue gently pressed to the soft palate. Notice the position of your head, the neck nice and long. No tension in the upper back or shoulders. And just feel that softening continue to spread down into your hands and fingers. Fingers might be slightly curled. The upper back and chest feel heavy into the mat. The hips as well. The only movement really is that gentle rise and fall of your belly. Let the heaviness from your hips flow down into your thighs, lower legs, into the feet and toes. As you're here and breathing, maybe call to mind something or someone you're especially thankful for today. Then remaining soft and quiet and at peace, slowly roll your head from side to side on the mat. Just a gentle range of motion, right to left. And let it float right to the center line. Notice your hands and begin to flutter your fingers, maybe like you are gently tinkling piano keys. Just flutter, flutter. And maybe you can go the other way. Wiggle your toes. And take a nice full body stretch there on the mat, reaching your arms above your head, lengthen. And then pull both knees right up into your chest, hug them like a ball. Just rock a little bit from side to side. And then as we prepare to come up, you can either rock over onto one side, rolling over there to press yourself up from seated, or you can rock forward and back the length of your spine until you have enough momentum to pop yourself right up to an easy seated pose. Once you're there, find good neutral posture, sitting tall, sitting proud. Proud of this time that you took for yourself. Self-care, working on the body, the mind, and the spirit. We'll take a breath together, sweep the arms out and up, inhale, lengthen. Press the palms of your hands together, pull the thumbs into the heart, make a connection there right up against the sternum in our Anjali Mudra. It is in this way we express our gratitude for this opportunity to practice together, even from afar. I am so honored for this opportunity to teach you, and the light and love and peace that resides within me honors the light and love and peace in each of you. Namaste. Thank you so much, everyone. I'll turn the record button off, and if you'd like to say hello, I'd love to either hear your voice or see your face. All right, stop.